Welcome to the All Clear Firefighter Wellness Podcast, where grit meets growth and excuses get burned away. This is about mental, physical, and personal growth. Light your fire within. Let's get after it.
All clear, where the truth cuts through.
Welcome to All Clear Firefighter Health and Wellness. I'm Travis. So welcome back to the show. Today, we're going to be talking about something that most firefighters probably have never heard of, but yet it could be one of the most important numbers for your health, your performance, and most importantly, your longevity. That number is your heart rate variability, or sometimes called HRV. Now, it's not your heart rate. It's not your resting pulse. It's something deeper and honestly much more powerful. If you're trying to reduce stress, if you're trying to improve your recovery, sleep better, or just be healthier in a high-stress job, this is something that you really need to understand. And I promise we'll keep it simple, and most importantly, we'll keep it practical. Now, let's break it down. Your heart does not beat like a metronome. If your heart rate is 60 beats per minute, those beats are not perfectly spaced apart. There's a tiny, tiny variation between each beat. And that variation between the beats is your heart rate variability. Now, if you have a high HRV, your body's flexible, adaptable, and we know it's recovering well. But if your HRV is a low number, then your body's stressed, fatigued, and under strain. A healthy firefighter has a heart that can adjust quickly. A stressed firefighter has a heart that becomes rigid and predictable. And we all want flexibility, not rigidity, just like your physical well-being. Now, something that you need to understand to really understand how HRV works is you got to understand your nervous system. Now, there's two main branches to the nervous system. First, you have your sympathetic nervous system. Now, this is your fight or flight system. This is what happens when you're responding to calls, when you have adrenaline spikes, when you're on high alert, you're situationally aware. That's what your sympathetic nervous system is. But the second part is your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, this is your rest and recover system. This handles things like digestion, recovery, sleep, and ultimately your healing. But here's the key. HRV is basically a score of how these two systems are working together, how they're balancing each other. If you have a high HRV, that means you got good balance. You could ramp up and you can calm down. But if your HRV is very low, then you're stuck in stress mode constantly. And let's be honest. Firefighters are really good at hitting the gas, but we're always not good at hitting the brakes when we need to. But why does HRV matter for firefighters? Well, it matters more to us than an average person. Why? Well, the job includes sudden adrenaline dumps, poor sleep, interrupted recovery, maybe waking up in the middle of the night. Plus, we face a lot of physical and emotional stress. Now, low HRV over time has been linked to things such as higher risk of heart disease, burnout, poor sleep, and overall reduced performance. And we all know that cardiac events are one of the leading causes of firefighter line of duty deaths. So this just isn't performance, it's a form of survival. Now, what are some things that can impact your HRV? Well, here are 5 things that can get you. Number 1 is poor sleep. This is the number 1 killer of HRV. Interrupted sleep at the station is one way to absolutely lower your HRV number. Also, if you have short sleep cycles, late night screens, playing on your phone, your tablet before you go to bed, that blue light will absolutely trigger your brain to staying awake. Even one bad night with any of these things can drop your HRV significantly. Now, here's another one that's really big. Alcohol. Sometimes we think alcohol helps us sleep better, but ultimately, even a small amount of alcohol can disrupt your sleep. It can increase your heart rate and decrease your recovery. When we drink alcohol, we may feel relaxed, but ultimately, our body is stressed. Now, talking about stress, how about chronic stress? Not just the calls we go on, but the other stresses in our life. Things like financial stress, family stress, mental load. If your body never calms down, then your HRV will always be low. Now, how about overtraining or under-recovering, depending on how you look at it? Working out is critical in our line of work. But stacking workouts with calls, poor sleep, a really hard workout when you're on duty, that causes problems. And how about if you do it without recovery? Well, you just have the recipe for burnout and low HRV. Now, poor nutrition and blood sugar swings are something else that can really impact your HRV number. And we know that A1C and such are really an issue in the fire service, and especially obesity. When you have big spikes and crashes in your blood sugar, this stresses your overall body. It increases your inflammation, and it's been tied to lower HRV. And this ties directly into things such as elevated A1C, which none of us want to deal with. But what ultimately can your HRV teach you? Well, HRV is kind of like a daily readiness score. It tells you, should I push harder today or should I back off a little bit? Am I actually recovered from what I did yesterday, or am I just going through the motions, just pushing through? It can also help you determine if something's off in your lifestyle. It gives you feedback your body has been trying to tell you for a long time. It ultimately removes the guesswork from how you're doing. Instead of saying, I feel fine, you get, my body is actually stressed today, I need to slow down. Now, here are some simple action steps we can take. Let's be realistic. Let's keep it simple. Here's how to start improving your HRV today. When you prioritize your sleep, it helps probably more than anything. Try as much as you can to sleep in a dark room, use an eye mask, sleep in cool temperatures. But here's a big one. Limit your screen time before you go to bed. The blue light from your phone will absolutely wake your brain up and keep you from being able to sleep at night. So about an hour before bed, cut off your screens. Also, nap when you can on shift. If you've got a few minutes, take a cat nap. You'd be amazed how much it'll help you. Now, ultimately, you can't control station life, but you can take control of certain aspects that can help you prioritize your sleep and rest. Another thing is controlling your breathing. Here's a simple tool. 4 seconds in breath, 6 seconds out breath. Do that for about 5 minutes. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and it raises your HRV. Or ultimately, you can use any breathing exercise that you're using currently for your own practice. Another thing is to limit alcohol, especially when you know you'll be going on to shift the next day or you're in a shift cycle. Even cutting back a little can make a huge difference. If you have a hard bender the night before and try to go to work the next day, it ain't going to work. Your HRV is going to be super low and you're going to feel like garbage. Train smart, not just hard. Some days it's okay to go hard on your workouts. On other days, when your HRV is really low, maybe you need to slow down a little bit. You got to stay active, but do things like walk, focus on your mobility, maybe some light movement. Let your HRV guide the intensity of your workouts. Ultimately, it'll help stabilize your blood sugar as well. That's something that you need to do. Prioritize your proteins. Avoid constant snacking. Try to be controlled in what you're eating. Reach for the good stuff. And try to reduce blood sugar spikes. This will help your overall system stay balanced. But here's something else. Track your HRV effectively. There's lots of ways you can track it. Personally, I use a fitness ring. I use a Nova ring. which I talked about before. But any of your wearables, like your Apple Watch, your Garmin watches, anything like that, your Whoop bands, things like that, they all will ultimately help you track your HRV. But here's the key thing. Don't obsess over that number. It's not what is it right this minute, but it's watching your trends. Ultimately, watching trends is where the value is. So here's our takeaway about HRV. It's not just a fitness metric. It's a window into your stress, into your recovery, and ultimately into your long-time health. And for firefighters, it can be one of the simplest ways to catch a problem before it becomes serious. Start paying attention to your HRV. Listen to your body, and by doing these long-term things, it'll help you not just show up, but it'll help you stay in the fight. Tracking your HRV is not super complicated. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what I've learned through time. When you track your HRV, it makes a huge difference. And as we say here on the All Clear podcast, light your fire within.
That's a wrap. All clear. Like, subscribe, and watch the video on YouTube. Do it now. Shout out to the North Carolina Firefighter Cancer Wellness Alliance, keeping our crews alive and strong. Hit allclearpodcast.com for every past episode. Grab your battalion newsletter. No spam, no selling, just the real deal. Stay sharp, watch your six, and we'll see you on the next call.